Welcome everyone to Little Tokyo 2's new podcast series From Startup to Grow Up. We offer short, sharp 20-minute overviews and interviews of successful founders, as well as 40-minute extended founder interviews with successful people who have graduated from LT2. I'm your host, founder and CEO of LT2, Jock Fairweather. In today's 20-minute podcast, we interview Warwick Walsh, co-founder and CEO of Lawcadia. We speak about what it takes to make the leap from corporate life to founding your own startup, and what it takes to run a software startup without any prior experience to it. Enjoy. So Warwick, in 2015, I think it was around October, I met with you and Happy Boy, and you just quit working for a law firm, and you said to me you wanted to start your own startup. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so Lawcadia was born in October 2015. I actually just wanted to start a business, and it had been in my mind for around about 18 months, and I took a number of steps, and it was really earlier 2015 that I started to have some ideas, and from the time that I had the idea for Lawcadia, I actually resigned within 2 months because I knew that that was the idea, that was the opportunity, and if I was ever going to do it, then that would be the time and this would be the idea.
Sure. So you basically had worked in a profession for how long?
About 15 years.
15 years. And during that time you'd seen obviously things that they did well and things that they didn't do so well, and that's how you found the insight to start Lawcadia?
Yeah, that's right. I think when you start looking at an industry that you know well, but through a different lens, opportunities open up. And innovating within law firms, I always found quite difficult and challenging because of the business models and the nature of the profession. However, when you actually look at an industry like the legal industry, external to it as a technology service provider and trying to provide a solution both for clients and law firms, you start to see a way to innovate in the industry that's actually I didn't think was possible from within a law firm.
True. But how did you see from a different perspective while you were in the law firm?
Actually, it was a mindset. It was I wanted to start a business, and I knew that wasn't I didn't want that to be a law firm. And the idea wasn't actually originally legal services. It was actually how people connect with service providers. So it was actually broader. And when I started to look at it and really delve into it, my mind kept coming back to the legal industry because I know it. And it was that started getting me thinking along the idea. Actually, I still remember it was the basis for the idea was effectively a marketplace for professional services, and we were thinking around what it would include and what it wouldn't include. And the middle of July, there was a front page of the AFR around someone setting up a marketplace for accounting services, and he was actually working, I think the person was working at PwC or KPMG at the time, and I realised that if I was going to do this business, it had to be just legal because I knew it so well, and it had to be right now because the space was moving. So I resigned a week after that.
That's awesome. Did you find that scary? What were the sort of things that you thought about prior to doing it, or you were just ready to go?
Yeah, I think for me, there's always a fallback of going back and practicing law. And so that was my safety net. Yeah. And I've got a great family. I've got 2 kids, great school at Ashgrove State School, and I felt that now was the opportunity and where I could take, I was lucky enough that I felt I could take 12 months without taking a salary and to build a business.
Because you'd saved via practicing law?
Yeah, partly, yeah.
Very cool. So tell us a bit about Lawcadia. What's it about? What does it do?
Lawcadia, it's evolved a lot in those 2.5 years and grown a lot. The solution we've got now is a really sophisticated platform that sits between corporate and government legal teams and their law firms. And the key reason that clients are really adapting it is digital transformation. So it's looking at their internal processes, and it puts a streamlined procurement process, which is not something that clients have generally done well, and all law firms responding well. A basic project management solution, really focusing around scope and budget, streamline invoices, so invoices go through the platform, so it streamlines the processes at the client's end, saving them time. And it obviously through that captures a lot of data, so both sides get really valuable insights into their relationships, and reporting around legal spend and satisfaction.
So both governments and enterprise have quite a long sales cycle. In my sort of experience, or the experience of other startups I've seen, enterprise can be 12 to 18 months maybe for a sale. How did you handle that? How did you go about it? I mean, that's a potential 12 to 18 month burn with no revenue, right?
Yeah, that's a really good question. When we launched, we were actually targeting smaller companies, really probably sub $500,000 legal spend. But once we launched, it was the collateral that we were publishing. Actually, LinkedIn was a brilliant tool for us in terms of who was engaging with us, and where the brand was getting traction, not necessarily people using the platform. And we learned a lot through that process, and really found that the platform we were developing, there was a massive need at the large corporate and enterprise level, and not so much at the smaller corporate level. So we raised money to build the platform and build the team for that. So direct sales, obviously, more marketing, a lot more knowledge, and a much more sophisticated platform at the back end. So we've now got 6 full-time developers working on the platform, and we've got a lot more ideas around that. The sales cycle for us, we felt that there was a lot of frustration in the corporate client space around the way that law firms manage scope and budget. Fee estimates were provided, or fixed fees were provided, and there was just very limited adherence to that. And I still remember, sort of after I'd been working on the plan for about a month, before pressing the button on any platform build, I went and spoke to half a dozen clients, and the frustration, as soon as I'd taken that lawyer hat off and started to speak to them with this solution that I had in mind, the frustration around the way that law firms had provided fee estimates and just sent invoices for 2 times, 3 times with no communication or agreed a cap fee, and effectively not adhering to it for no particular reason without the right communication, and really felt that the pain point was big enough that would change behaviour. And that's been the key to trying to accelerate that sales cycle.
And you're not a tech guy.
I'm not a tech guy.
I don't think Sasha is a tech co-founder.
No, that's right. My wife, Sasha, is a brilliant marketer. So the marketing in our business has always been excellent.
How were you able then to put together a software platform that worked effectively, and you were able to do it on budget, on time, and continue to develop in a sophisticated manner with no experience managing, developing, building, selling tech?
When you put it like that, I'm actually not quite sure. I put a board together in place from the start. I felt as a corporate lawyer I could do that and put a board together that would add a lot of value. And one of my directors is Andy Hill, who had founded Aniqua back in the mid-90s, a Brisbane technology company that had that ran for 20 years, and I was actually his lawyer when they sold the business back in 2012. So he helped through that process, but we really felt that you can find people to build tech, and so we contracted out, and we're lucky that we used Driven, which is a digital agency, and I know the owner of that, Ben Maunder, well. And so they managed the website. Sasha managed the messaging, but built the website and actually helped with the wireframes for how the application would look, and then got a back-end contractor in, Richard, who you know. And that's how we got our what was an MVP up and running and operating.
How valuable is it to get someone trusted, like for example Richard, as a contractor that can do what they say they're going to do and will take time to understand what you're trying to do?
Yeah, it's incredibly valuable. The thing that I found when we were then raising money is the investors are now looking for that CTO or lead tech person to be in-house though. And so for Richard, we then brought him on as a contract for us and worked for us right through till May last year, actually. And that was enough overlap with other tech people. And now Zach, my platform manager, he manages our tech team, and I'm lucky that I've got some great developers.
And Richard was able to help manage sort of like the handover as well.
Yeah, well, he worked in it, and then that's right. So Zach was working in the business for probably around about 9 months before Richard then stepped out, and we had other developers, and then Richard gave us good notice, and we were able to transition him out. But in terms of building an MVP, really valuable, and you learn a lot through that process, and couldn't have done it without someone like Richard at the time. But you also need to be conscious that at some stage the logic sitting behind the platform and all that tech, I think the VC view, and I would agree with that, is that you actually need to have that sort of knowledge and expertise in-house as opposed to sitting outside.
And the initial clients that you got, did they come from the law firm you worked for previously?
No, I actually did work for smaller companies. So actually the original target market that I had in mind, not my exact client base, but I had an idea of who that would be. The people we ended up marketing to, so sort of large corporates, government. We've got one of the big four banks on board as a client, one of the major city councils, insurance company. I hadn't done work for those companies, and so you need to be agile enough and be able to react to what's the market telling you. Where actually is the pain point? Who are the potential customers, and be able to then develop the platform. And so that was, I guess, my knowledge of the industry and how matters work helped with that. But that was actually having a good marketing team and tech team to be able to adjust the messaging and respond and continue to iterate the content that we put out, continue to iterate the website, continue to iterate the platform, the way we did things.
So you raised money before you'd started?
No, actually, Sasha and I funded it ourselves for the first part. So we were effectively the angel investors. So to MVP and to launch and to first revenue. First revenue came from a Queensland government. We put about 130,000 in of our own money. Yeah. And then we got through, and then we managed to close our seed fundraising of 500,000 from ACAC Innovation in the end of June 2017.
Because most VCs, if you come to them and you haven't been able to raise or put in 350 yourself, they'll just turn you away, because they'll say there's one of two things wrong, right? Either you as a founder or a founding team, or the product's wrong. Oh,
right. I did not know that rule of thumb.
So ACAC?
Yeah, they're based in Brisbane. They're a great angel fund. They're also invested into Movis, which is another really good Brisbane tech story around that. One of my directors is also a director of Movis. And looking at machine applications of Internet of Things. So they're going really well. And they've actually put money into, I think it's 23 startups now, 18 or 20 of which are Queensland based. So that's been excellent. They've been a great supporter for that industry. And Andy's point of difference actually was that they would get in earlier and they really saw themselves as an angel fund, so AC, Angel Capital, as opposed to the later venture stage.
That's great. And how long did the 500 then last you?
We then had another, the Queensland Government through the Business Development Fund then matched that, and that closed in April of, so I've got my dates mixed up, ACAC, that was June 2016, and that closed April 2017. We've subsequently done another raising, which has put us in a really good position as well.
Fantastic.
Yep.
And what's the revenue model? How does the business actually work?
Yeah, our business model is that we that has evolved as well over the past 2 years, and you get feedback. But we've developed a platform that's two-sided, and we've worked really hard to develop benefits both for clients and law firms. It is client-driven, but we continually iterate for feedback from law firms, and have got our tech roadmap has got a lot of functionality that we think is going to be really, really valuable to them. So we actually have a business model where we charge law firms a subscription, and clients a subscription as well. Well, that's changed. We started off with a percentage model, trying to, I guess, similar to other marketplaces, and law firms are actually happy with that initially. But when you start to get clients like large city councils and a Big Four bank, the numbers actually end up being too high. Yeah, so we've had to really, again, iterate it for the clients that are coming through.
Awesome.
Yep.
Are you guys at break even yet?
No, it's always difficult to know whether you hold off or break even, or whether you need to invest more. Yeah, that's right. And so continue for the developing the product and accelerating sales.
Hypothetically, you stopped developing the product, could you break even?
No, because I can't stop developing the product. but the funding at the moment will get us. The funding at the moment will get us to profitability.
Okay.
Yeah, the funding we've got will get us to profitability.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what are the really major wins that you've had, and really major losses that you've had so far in this 2.5-year journey?
We've had a lot of amazing wins. I'm still not quite sure how many of those are down to a bit of luck, because I think you do need a little bit of luck. But I also think we had good timing, and we had and we picked the market quite well, and we were able to iterate. Some of the major wins that the clients that we've got now are sensational. It's actually our second birthday today from the first platform launch. It was the 29th of February.
Congratulations! How good?
Yeah, so it's excellent, and to look at the infographic around the data and say this is actually what we've achieved in 2 years, and this is our client base: insurance company, Big Four bank, large city council, large church, not-for-profit in Victoria, infrastructure, asset in Adelaide, and to have the support of a lot of those teams and general councils has been amazing. We've got a great relationship with a lot of law firms as well, which is very pleasing. And for me, one of the most motivating factors is actually building my team, and I think I've got a wonderful team, and they are very dedicated, and we're up to as of Monday 14 people full time. So that's major wins. The losses, be
honest.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, we are disruptive because we're trying to change behaviour, and we are. We are perceived to be getting in between clients, in between law firms and some very large clients. So there've been a couple of large law firms that have been difficult to get across the line, but we've done really well. We know the market, we know the industry, we know the platform, and we know we've got a great solution. So that's helped us get through it. But that's certainly taken a lot more of my time personally than I had anticipated 2 years ago. Even though I knew what we were doing is disruptive, we weren't out to completely destroy the industry. That's never been the goal. It's to work with clients and with law firms and try to be collaborative from that way. But that's probably been our biggest challenge.
So people, I mean, the firms have tried to sue you? What's made it difficult?
No. So at the end of the day, a client decides to implement a platform.
Sure.
And they need their law firms on the platform to be able to use it, because it's managing engagement and invoices coming through it. And there's been we've had a lot of scrutiny around our security processes and the way the platform works and how the law firm's business processes are going to work, which is okay, and you need to accept that. And security is obviously an issue that's top of mind. But it's that process and the time that has taken me for a few of the firms that's probably been the biggest challenge.
So if you had one or two last things to say, maybe to you 2.5 years ago, or to someone else that's trying to do a software or maybe a legal tech software, what are some of the most important things they probably need to know?
It's actually bloody hard. If I thought it would be hard, I really wanted to do it, but I underestimated how hard it would be. And you need to really want to do it, and you need to have resilience to be able to do it. And you need to put a good support network around you. And I'm extremely fortunate to have my wife as a co-founder, who's been amazing support and has done a sensational job as our chief marketing officer. The piece of advice is you have to be really flexible. Before we launched, I got told, I think I read it in a book, whatever you launch with is not going to be your final product. It's not going to hit the market. And I was like, no, I'm different. My product's different. And the reality is, no one's product's different. It's whatever you produce and go to market with is not going to meet market. So you need to be excellent at learning, and there's great rules around value of a startup is in what it learns, and you need to learn really quickly, and you need to iterate really quickly, and you need to have an organizational culture that supports that. And the final thing is you've actually got to start, because what we're doing now, it's moved so much in 2 years. I didn't set out this business. I wasn't starting to do this. Yes, it's basically the idea that I had, but it's changed a lot. And you've actually got to start and build the processes in around improving things, and that's the important part.
Done is better than perfect.
Exactly.
Warwick, thanks so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure over the last 2.5 years odd to see you start with literally yourself sitting in Happy Boy telling me these big dreams and them actually becoming reality. And happy birthday, happy second birthday. Yeah,
thank you. Thank you for your support. I think the facilities that you've got around Brisbane are great. I know the Spring Hill area or venue that we started at was really important for me, because it got me out of a law firm environment. There were coloured walls and there was some light music playing, and it was just a really creative environment, which is what you need when you start. And I think your venue at eCapital is great. We had our corporate clients and law firms here, and was always really proud to show them around and show them the area. And I think it's great.
And that's it for another week with our podcast series From Startups to Grow-Ups. If you enjoyed that, you can find out more about Little Tokyo 2 on www.littletokyo2.com, and you can find more of our podcasts on soundcloud.com/Little Tokyo 2. Thank you, and speak to you next week.